Welcome. In this tutorial we're going to look at Windows Live Movie Maker, which was released with Windows 7. Now Movie Maker enables us to fulfill all of the editing tasks for this assignment. What we're going to do is talk about capturing video, importing previously existing video files. We're then going to edit videos on a timeline, or the new approximation of timelines, do some trimming, some cropping. We're going to add audio elements, some image elements, transitions between video, as well as credits and titles. And finally, once we have the piece where in a finished product, we're going to export that out into a final file format that we can then upload to YouTube, which is the deliverable for this assignment. Let's talk about capturing video from a camera to start. Now the cameras we're using, the Handycam, the mini DV cams, in this class they use a FireWire connection. I can only demonstrate that piece so far with the setup that I'm on today. I'm on a MacBook Pro and I'm running the Parallels desktop emulator so that I can run Windows 7 so I can demonstrate the program. For some reason Parallels has not supported FireWire connection, so when I plug the FireWire into my Mac, Parallels isn't picking it up. So I won't be able to actually demonstrate the capture, but I have given a couple of links, Microsoft support links, for the capturing process. Basically, you need to plug in the video camera into the FireWire connection on your computer, and then go up to this drop-down menu and choose Import from Device. When you do that, if it's the first time, you'll get this notifier. I'm going to click OK. And then what it does is it shows me all the available devices. Right now, like I said, this instance is not going to recognize my video camera, but your camera should come up right here and it'll say Sony Handycam. Select that camera and then go ahead and click Import. A screen will pop up and you'll be able to scan through the video, basically choosing the portion of video that you would like to then start recording. You can give it a name, a destination, etc. It's relatively straightforward, but if you have problems with capturing from the camera, please let me know as soon as possible so we can figure out how to troubleshoot what's going on your end. Sorry that I can't demonstrate that with this setup here. So I'm going to click Cancel. So please import some video that you've shot from the camera. The next step is to import previously existing files. Now if you're shooting with something like a flip cam or a hard drive camera, then you can access those files. This will be the process that you bring those files into the Movie Maker environment. Also, somebody might give you a video file, MPEG-4, an AVI, that you'd like to edit. This is also how you bring those in. We're basically going to go to Add Videos and Photos up here. And now you can browse. I'm on my desktop. I have a folder named Assets and a folder named Footage. And I have a number of video files here. Basically, I can click on the first, my first file here, and I will say Open. And it just brings it right onto my desktop. And I'm going to do that again with a couple of more pieces of footage. This one here. And now I have two pieces of video in my workspace. And when I click, you can see that I have a bit of a playhead here. Another way that I can get around my project is using this slider down here. Note that I get the time code of where my playhead is right now at 13 seconds, and then I get the overall length of my video at this point, which is 19 seconds. So I can scrub through. And of course I can click.
The rooster sends out his call, and the chickens begin to wake.
So I can move through my video. Now these arrows right here move one frame at a time. If you're interested in doing some very fine editing, you can go frame by frame and find the exact frame where you want to edit. We'll jump into that in a moment. I'm going to add a few more pieces of footage to my project. this one. I'll also grab this one as well. Hens. Great. So what I have is 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of video that I'm going to work with on my timeline today. Note that once again I can scrub through, take a look at my footage. This color footage here is footage that I shot previously on the video camera. This black and white footage is from a 1937 instructional film on poultry, aimed towards educating grade school kids. Now, the first thing I want to show you is that I can grab onto a clip and I can move it in my timeline. So I can select and reorder my clips just by clicking and moving. So that's one way that you can start to order clips on your timeline. Now, once you when you import a clip, you don't always have it exact at its start and end point. So that brings us to the next step, which is trimming and cutting. I find the best way to do that is to basically use the playhead to find my start point, my end point, find the point where I would like to cut my video. And remember, back when we were using film, the term cutting actually had to do with cutting, say the 16mm film. Well, in essence, that's what we're doing with the digital video. So think of it in the same way. I've got a big chunk here with chickens in my chicken coop. And say I wanted to cut off the first few seconds of my footage right here. And so in essence, my timeline is here, and what I want to do is cut everything before the timeline and keep everything after my playhead. Well, I get the playhead exactly where I want it, and I can do this fine maneuvering here by moving one frame at a time. And then I can control click or right click right on the footage. And note that down here I have this option to split. So I can click split, and now this piece has been split away from this piece. They've been separated, and this is that first chunk that I wanted to cut off, and everything beyond this point is what I wanted to save. So I can click the chunk that I decided to cut off, and then I can control click on that and just go ahead and click remove, and that'll take that right off my timeline. So using my playhead, I can split the video and then cut away the stuff that I don't want. I find that's generally the easiest way to crop the video, or that's a very manual way to do it. But when you're first getting into video editing, that's a nice way because you have a whole lot of control. Now, of course, with all programs, you want to know where the undo function is. So right over here is the icon to undo. So the last thing I did, I think, was to delete that clip. So if I click undo, there's that clip. If I click undo again, it'll put it back together. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to click select. Notice I get this little blue selector notifier. When I right click on this, I'm just going to click remove and get rid of that from the timeline. I still have my 4 chunks of footage. And go ahead, go into your footage and start trimming, cropping, reordering. Remember, you can click right on that and just move it right around your timeline as you start to find the right order or mosaic of shots to tell the story that you're trying to tell. And then use the playhead with the split, the cut feature, so that you can then get the clips the exact length that you would like to have them. This is a good point to go up to my save project icon, and I'm just going to click that, and I'll save that. I'll name this I'll just name this Movie Maker, and I'll save it right in this directory. Just a reminder, when you save these projects, it doesn't save all of the video footage directly into the project file. Your project, the videos that you're adding to this project file, wherever they live, whether they're in your Windows Live photo application, or whether they're in another folder like mine were just on the desktop. When you open the Movie Maker project, it's going to go straight to that folder and look for those video files right in the place that you told them. Meaning that if you move the project file or those video files away from the location where you've done your editing, they will not work later on down the line. So I find it's often good to save your video footage as well as the project file in one folder together. That way they kind of stay associated, and if you need to move your project somewhere, move the whole folder, not just the Movie Maker file itself. So let's add a a photo file. I'm going to click on Add Photos, and I think in this folder, let's see, I have an image called Eggs, and so I'll just click on that. That's a still image that I found on Flickr with a Creative Commons license, so we can use this. I'll just click Open, and notice that it drops a still image onto our video project workspace in the same way that it does video footage. Now video footage comes in at the duration. Notice when I roll over it I get the information of that clip. So the duration on this first clip, when I roll over it, it says that it is 10.5 seconds long. When I look at my still image that I brought in, the duration is 7 seconds. And Movie Maker just by default will drop the image in there at 7 seconds. You can decrease and increase the duration by double clicking on it, that image, and here's the duration. So I could increase that to say 10 seconds, and now when I roll over the top of it, notice that my duration has increased to 10 seconds long. So you're not stuck with that 7 seconds. Just double click on it, you can change the duration. Let's take a look at this last clip. I will hit the space bar.
It is early evening, and the chickens have already gone to roost. Farmer Brown closes the chicken house door.
And my playhead will just jump straight into that image. So remember, as you're editing, you can move your playhead around, and you can jump around, preview the actions that you're, preview what you're editing. Do that frequently and make sure that you like what you have edited. We'll click Save. Now, one of the next elements that we're interested in bringing in are transitions. So let's take a look at. We've been pretty much in this Home tab. Notice you have a number of options, saving the movie. This is where we can do our titles and credits. We'll do that in a minute. But we do have a tab here called Animations. And the animations are the fades and different transitions that we can use. So the way that this works is in Movie Maker, when you click on a clip, say I'll click on this second clip here in my timeline. If I roll over a transition up here in my transition menu, it'll give me a demo of what it looks like. And the way that the transition works is it's going to whichever clip is selected, the transition will occur from the one previous into the transition that you've selected. So to add a transition to this second clip, in between the first clip and the second clip, I would select the second clip and then apply a transition. I'm going to click on this lower arrow here, and that will expand all of my possible transitions. And I like to do just a straight dissolve. So look at that again, and it just dissolved, or excuse me, a crossfade from one to the other. So once you find a transition that you like, you select the clip that you want to add it to, and I'm just going to add that crossfade from down here. Go ahead and just double click on the transition that you like, and now I get this. You can see right here in the left side of my clip, I get this little diagonal line, a little grayed in triangle on the lower left. That shows me that I now have a transition applied to the clip. So my transition will now be from this first clip into the second. Let's take a look.
Very early in the morning, the rooster sends out his call, and the chickens begin to wake. Here comes Farmer Brown, bringing grain for the...
So I now have the crossfade between the first clip and the second clip. When I roll over my clip, now notice that under transition it tells me that I have a crossfade attached to it. Now I'm going to do the same thing for this clip here. I'm just going to scroll down, double click, add a crossfade. I'm going to put one here. Go ahead and play with these different fades, see if you like them. You know, there's all sorts of different effects and feelings. I like just sort of the understated element of a crossfade. So I'm going to double click on that. We'll add it to the clip. And finally, I will add a transition, a fade from this last video clip into the still picture of the eggs. You can apply transitions into still images. Great. So now, from my first clip to my second, I have a crossfade, second to third crossfade, third to fourth, etc. There's a crossfade into each of those. I'm going to click Save. If you want to speed up or slow down your transition, this is where you do it, the transition duration. There are some other effects here. A kind of pan and zoom effect. There's a number of different effects. So you can play with those as well. Same deal. Select the clip that you want to apply the pan and zoom effect to. Double click on it, and it will be added as a transition. One more time. I'll click Save. Next, let's look at adding a credit or titles to the piece. I'm going to click on the first clip here, and what I'm interested in doing is adding a title just before my first video clip. So on the Home tab, I can add a title, and I will double click on that. And the way that Movie Maker works is it will give me a 7-second black background, and then I have this little bar underneath my black background. This is my actual title. So I can double click on the title itself, and this is where now I can enter in the text. Notice when I double click on it and I'm in the title area, I have all sorts of basic text editing capabilities. I can bold, italic, change the font color, the size, the font itself. I've also got some transitions here. It wants to automatically apply this sort of zoom in, and if you like that effect, then that's fine. Anyway, so there's a number of animations that you can, templates that you can choose. Go ahead and just double click on one of these and add it directly to your title. If you want to take all of the animations off and just have it be plain, then you can double click None, like I'm going to do. Now to add the text, I'm just going to select the text down here in this binding box, and I'll put And good. Now I can preview that as well. Actually, I think I will grab onto this and just pull it up a little bit so it's a little more centered. Great. That looks fine. I'm going to click play. And now I have a simple title with no effects or anything like that. Once I started clicking on my clips, it took me out. I'm back to this Home tab, away from the navigator for the text tools for this credit. So if I double click on the credit, it'll take me back into that area where I can once again apply templates, etc. I can change the duration that the text stays up on the screen. I could also change the background color for this piece right here. Now, let's see. I would like to show you that this black background and this text credit are not necessarily attached to each other, meaning that I can grab a hold of the credit and I can move it on my project back and forth a bit. And now, the effect is I have a few seconds of black, and then once the timeline reaches this point here, the credit will show up, and now I have and then the credit will overlap into that first video clip, and when the timeline hits here, the end of the text credit, the credit will disappear. So let's take a look at that. And the timeline's moving. There's the credit.
Very early in the morning, the rooster...
So you can, by default, it adds this black background for you. But you can erase this black background if you don't want to have it, and you can move this text title around and place them right over the top of the video if you're interested in doing that. It's a useful way, specifically if you're trying to annotate something that viewers are seeing on screen. I'm going to click Save. And I noticed that there's a hard jump between this black background and this first clip, so I'm going to go up to Animations, and I will throw one more crossfade right onto that first clip. So let's take a look at that. And now I get a fade between those two. Great, so I'm happy with that intro credit. I'm going to click Save. So now I'm going to click on the Home tab, and I am going to select Credits. And credits are, sort of the scrolling credits that I can see here at the end. So I am going to, once again, if I roll over it, the duration is 7 seconds. It's given me a black background. And once again, I get this text overlay, which are the credits. It's also 7 seconds. Within the editor, let's see, I've got a text file, and it has the attribution for the assets that I've used. So I can, right here, just paste in that information, and I can start to format the way that I like that. Here we go. I'll put another return here, and now I'll move down. And you can start to lay out your credits. Now, I'm sort of spacing them far out, that way we can get the effect of a rolling credit. Let's take a look at this. I'm going to click my play. There we go. Great. Now I am interested in having the credits start over the top of this still image, and then the still image fade away into the black background, and then the credits finish rolling up. So I'm going to double click on the egg image, and what I'm going to do is just take that duration down to say about 3 seconds. My credits are something more like 7 seconds long. So maybe I'll increase that to somewhere around 10 seconds. And now I can grab my credits, and here I have about that full 10 seconds where it'll start over the top of the eggs, and then the black background will come up. And maybe I'll even throw a let's see. Maybe I'll even throw a crossfade in between my image and that black background by going to my animations and just double clicking on that. Okay, so now what I have my intro credit. Then I have a number of pieces of footage that I've edited. I've added transitions. I've added a still image. I've put a end credits on there, and then it fades off into this black background and ends with a black screen. It's starting to shape up. We have most of the elements that are required by the assignment. I'm going to go up here to hit the Save Project button. The final requirement for the assignment is to add audio, an external music file, MP3, etc. A bit of soundtrack to the video. And so I am going to first go to Home. And here I have the option to add music. And if I click this drop down, I can add music starting at the beginning to the project, or add music at the current point. Right now we're just going to click Add Music. The playhead, or the current point, is right at the beginning of the project. So I'm going to say Add Music right at the beginning. Then I'll search for that file. There's my Assets folder. And I have the Big Bill Brunsey MP3 that we've used before in class. I'm going to open that up. And now you see right across the top of my entire project is that music file. Great. Now, I don't want the music to play for my entire video, so let's start editing this audio. Notice that each time I add a new element, such as text or music, I get this tab then that gives me the option to click right into the music tools. The way I don't like to do that as much as just clicking directly on the element that I would like to edit. That does the same thing. So I want to edit this Big Bill Brunsey track that I just added, so I'll double click on that, and it takes me to the music tools. I have the option to fade in. I'm right at the beginning of the audio, so I think I'll just not have it fade in right now because it has a fade built in. So I'll take a look at my end point, which is right now 195 seconds, and that's going to be the length of the entire track. Now my first piece of footage here is about 7 seconds long, and that's about as long as I want the audio to last. So what I'm going to do is actually change this end point to 7.0, and what that should do now is shrink my audio down to a more manageable size. Now I'll have my audio play for this. I'll have my audio play for this first chunk, and then at the end of the audio, as it's starting to fade into the video where the playhead here is right now, I will have it fade out sort of at a medium speed. And so let's take a look at that. Great, so my audio fades in, it plays for 7 seconds, then it fades out. I told it to fade out. At the same time, we're seeing that beginning title, we're seeing that fade into that first clip.
Early in the morning, the rooster sends out his call.
And then our video plays across the timeline. So I'm going to click Save. Now once again I can grab onto this music chunk and I can start to move it around. I don't want to move it around right now, but just like these text overlays, I can do the same thing with audio. Once I have a chunk that I'm pleased with, then I can start to move it around and overlay it over the top of my different video assets along the timeline. If I click on, or I double clicked on the audio here, and then I clicked on music volume, and this enables me to say turn the volume down a little bit, make it a little closer to the volume that happens on my video or happens on my narration. So you do have the capability to change your volume. The way that this is set up in Movie Maker, you can only change the volume or when you change the volume here, what you're doing is changing the full volume across the entire piece. So it's not sort of fade in, fade out kind of volume. Let's add some outro music starting right around in here. And basically what I'm going to do is put my playhead where my image is right before my credits begin, and I'm going to grab, I will click Home, Add Music. This time I'll click Add Music at the current point, and I will choose that same piece of music that I browsed for. Click Open, and it's going to give me a chunk of music. Now it's going to start when I click on it. So if I click on it again, it'll open up my editor. The start time is where we are in the video piece. The start point is where we are in the MP3 file. So it's starting at the beginning of the song, and then in essence, rolling until the end of our video, which is the end point here. Now, I'm interested in creating a chunk that, let's see, we have 3 seconds, 7 seconds. Grab, say, 10 seconds out of the middle of our MP3. I'm going to click a start point, and I'll give the start point, say, at 50 seconds in, and I'll give the end point at 60 seconds. So 50 seconds in, 50 seconds. The start point is at 50 seconds, the end point's at 60 seconds. Now if I put my playhead over here, it should start somewhere in the middle of the song. I can play around with my start point and my end point, and in essence grab a different chunk of my song just so it's not quite the same as the beginning. Now at this point, since I'm just jumping right into the middle of the song, why don't I throw a medium fade into the music and a medium fade out of the music. And there we go. So I have some intro music and some outro music that I've imported from an external MP3 file. I find that a little clunky adding and editing music this way, but it's doable. So work with the tool set and see what you can create. I think this is the point where we've fulfilled all of the requirements for the assignment. There are a couple of other things that we can take a look at, though, in Movie Maker. So let's look at some more tools. First, I'm going to click Save. Great. We've looked at animations, and mainly those are our transitions, pan and zoom effect, etc. But what we haven't looked at are visual effects. So let's put my playhead right on the some color footage here, and I can start to get a look at we're getting a black and white film effect here. A cyan tone. And if I drop here, I get a number of different effects. Cinematic effects. What's this? Some interesting overlays. The upside down effect. So if you're interested in adding a visual effect to a clip, we do it the same way that we do a transition. In particular, I have color footage and black and white footage. Why don't I just add a black and white visual effect right to my my color footage to try to get some continuity. Now when I take a look, it should be applied. And now my footage is in black and white. So you can add visual effects to get a different look and feel, and to help you tell your story. I should have told you at the beginning, but this is where you can change the project tab is where you can change the 4:3 versus the 16:9. It wants to take a look at your footage and I think it tries to automatically determine what's going to be best for your footage. These days it might auto default to 16:9. For the handy cams in our class, we want to choose a 4:3 standard definition size. Really the main difference is you'll get that letterboxing to the sides if you choose the widescreen version. Now let's click home. Now we have intro music, intro credit, a number of video clips that we shot with our camera. We've added transitions, added a black and white visual effect. We've got a still image here, ending rolling credits, and an ending rolling MP3. You start to get an idea of how the playhead moves across this project and how these different elements then are overlaid on the visual elements that are laid out on the project. Hopefully this is relatively straightforward. If not, please give me a call, email me, and we can start to troubleshoot any issues that we're having. I'm going to click save one more time. And we're not done quite yet, because now we have this nice video project. What we don't have is our video project in a finalized video file that we can utilize to upload to YouTube, which is going to be the deliverable for the project for the class. So what I'm going to do is click on this drop-down menu here, the Movie Maker drop-down menu. And we have an option down here to save the movie. Now, there is an option to publish the movie, and that will publish it up to YouTube directly for you once you give it your credentials. I would prefer not to have you not do that for this class, or at least to play around with this option to save movies and do it, somewhat manually. But it's really up to you. You do have this capability to throw your movie directly into the YouTube web service. So you're going to need to have your account information before you can do that. But if you want to give that a try, go for it. We can also choose Save Movie. And we have a number of presets for Movie Maker. Now, Movie Maker likes to save things in the .wmv file extension, which is Windows Movie Video file. I believe that's what that is. And so I can scroll down, and we have presets, the common settings, mobile settings, recommended settings. And down here you can create a custom setting. If I click create a custom setting, what it does is it gives us the option to take a look at some of the what's exactly going on in these presets. If I look for a high definition display, it's going to give me a 1920 by 1080 video setting, which is that 1080p HD setting that we've talked about in class before. This is very nice if you're shooting in HD, but if, for example, you're shooting with one of the handy cams from our class, what you're going to do is take a 720 by 480 image and then try to size that up to 1920 by 1080. You're going to get pixelated and lose quite a bit of quality. So don't choose standard definition unless you've shot in standard definition. What we're going to choose, I think, is burn a DVD, and that's just the setting within Movie Maker, which is then going to give us the 720 by 480 standard, which is set up more for standard definition TV. Since that's what we shot with in this class, at least the handy cams that you checked out, choose this. It's going to be the highest. It's going to be the correct size export for you. Some of these other presets, say for a computer, 640 by 480, that's pretty standard for embedding onto web pages, etc. Now I opened up the custom setting just to show you sort of width, height, bit rate. Frame rate 29.97 is standard, so we're just gonna keep with the presets. Go ahead and click close, and in this instance I'm gonna click save movie, and I'm gonna choose burn a DVD. What it's going to do is it's going to save the type as a Windows Media video file. And now I have to give this a name, which it wants to give it the name of my video file, which is fine with me. And then I am going to tell it where to save it. I'll save it right here in my assets folder. And I will click save. It might take a moment to save out. Once again, what we're saving is the .wmv. You can take that then and watch the tutorial for uploading a video to YouTube and upload that directly through the YouTube uploader. I also have Windows DVD Maker installed. What it wants to do, since it chose the preset to save as a DVD, it opens up the DVD Maker. Now I'm not interested in making a DVD right now. I just wanted to use the preset that was set up for standard definition television, 720 by 480. So I'm just going to close my DVD Maker. I'm not going to save this project. And I see the window down here that says your movie OLIT 522 moviemaker.wmv is done. I can play it, open the folder, or close it. I want to open the folder and just take a look. There's my movie right there. I'm going to right click on it, look at my properties. And I can take a look now. I'm looking at the details. It's 720 by 480. It's about a minute long. It shows me my bit rate, my frame rate, and looking pretty good. So I can double click on it and take a look at it in Movie Maker.
Very early in the morning, the rooster sends out his call, and the chickens begin to wake. Here comes Farmer Brown, bringing grain for the chickens.
And it's always nice when you export your video to, get a look at it when it's in its final format. So what we've done is we've imported video. We didn't go through capturing video, but I've given you some resources to take a look at capturing. It's a relatively simple process. Bringing video onto our timeline, bringing still images onto our timeline, moving those around so they're in the order that we like, using the playhead to then split and basically trim our clips to the exact length that we want them. We added transitions. Then we added some credits, rolling credits and titles. We threw some audio over the top and then synced that up so it was just at the beginning and the end credits. And then finally we saved it and exported it out to a .wmv video file. With that file, now you can take a look at the tutorial for uploading to YouTube and upload that up to the YouTube account that you've created. Submit to me the URL of your video file as the deliverable for the assignment, and I look forward to taking a look at your video. So thanks for watching the tutorial, and we'll see you in the next one.